I am so excited to have all of you here today. I am Holly. I'm with the Cutaneous Lymphoma Foundation, and I am just thrilled to see all these amazing faces out here today. Some I know and some I don't, and I will look forward to getting to know. So it is my honor to be able to kick us off today and welcome you all here for our event. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that this event is being live streamed. We do have some amazing people who are out here joining us from around the globe to be able to experience the educational and the information, and they have an online networking. So welcome to those people who are joining us online. There is also a photographer who's mingling around and taking some photos. And so, you know, he will be discreet in his movements around, but we do love to capture these events and, you know, share them out with the rest of our community. The restrooms are this way, if you need them, down the hallway to the end. I believe there are some off back where you came in and down that other long hallway, but if you need them, just figured we would let people know. Breaks, we do have breaks scheduled. If you need to go otherwise, please just feel free to get up and go at any time. Lunch, so patients and care partners and other members of the community will have lunch together. Industry, our industry partners will join us for lunch down the hallway here. It's another small room. We'll all get food here, but then we'll all gather over there and allow our patients and care partners to have a lunch together, networking and chatting with one another. And in case you haven't heard, we're celebrating 25 years. So we have our event this evening. We're very excited about you know, hosting our anniversary gala dinner. If you're not coming, let's chat. We want to make sure that everybody has a place in celebrating 25 years and the foundation, the milestones and the accomplishments that have happened because of the people who are in this room. So I would like to recognize our board of directors. These people work tirelessly to represent and create strategic plans and strategic objectives and set the guidance and the guidelines for the organization and really help us hone in on why we do what we do and the activities that we're doing on your behalf. And so we have several of our board members. I don't know, would you mind standing and so that folks can see? Yep. And we also have past board members who are in the room as well, and thank you so much for everybody who has served on our board over the 25 years. The foundation staff, most of us are here today, so if you see any of these faces around, these are who you connect with. These are people who can answer your questions or get you to the right direction. The foundation staff make the foundation work day to day. This small group of people are the folks who make all of this happen. It is a passion for every single person who's up on this screen. They love doing what they do. They love doing it for you. And so if I could thank the staff for all that they do for the cutaneous lymphoma community, I just can't thank you enough. It's just amazing. So we are stronger together. You'll hear it a ton this weekend. All of us as individuals are on our own individual journey with cutaneous lymphoma, but as we come together as a group and focus in on visions and missions and what we're doing and being a community to one another, it really makes us far more powerful. You're going to hear it, like I said, throughout my entire presentation. I'm going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it all weekend, that the strength is in the numbers. We're a small but mighty group. We're a rare disease and a rare disease space, but we have an amazing voice when we come together as one. So when you look around this room, if you wouldn't mind, if you are in industry, will you raise your hand? Everyone take a look around the room. If you are a board or a staff, raise your hand. Care partners, patients. Wow. It's amazing. This is your community. These are the people that are here for you. These are the people who make up and understand what you're going through. Remember that as you're coming through for these next couple of days. These are the people who share your experiences, share your journey, and share your passion in cutaneous lymphoma. So I mentioned on it just briefly, in case anybody doesn't know. Cutaneous lymphoma, we span multiple things. We're a rare disease, we're on the dermatology side of things, and we're on the lymphoma side of things, right? So hematology, oncology. And that can be really difficult because some people come in through a dermatologist, some people come in through a hematologist oncologist, and some are just, not diagnosed for a very long time. Because it's rare and because they weren't able to get to maybe the right person who was able to identify what it was that they were living with. And so it's important to understand how we cross disciplines because it will speak to why we get engaged and we get involved as a foundation in so many different things in so many different areas. So the foundation's history, I'm not going to go through all of these, I promise. This could be a very long day if we did. But we started out in 1998, so that's the reason that we're celebrating. It was actually December, which is why we've made this our 25th year of celebration. We started out as the Mycosis Fungoides Foundation. The founder of the organization was diagnosed with mycosis fungoides, and we didn't know that there was all these other things that were very similar that fell under cutaneous lymphoma. So it was the Mycosis Fungoides Foundation, and we ended up, and I see my slide cut off, foundation, so founded. We started out as the Mycosis Fungoides Foundation and clearly realized that there were other subsets that weren't well represented and didn't have a place to go. LYP, Sézary syndrome, those folks also needed a place to go. And so over time, over the course of a few years, we did end up changing our name to the Cutaneous Lymphoma Foundation so that we could feel like we could bring everybody together in one group and not be so siloed just to the mycosis fungoides diagnosis. We hired our first staff in 2004. I'm one of them, hello. It was, until that, fully volunteer organization. Everybody was donating their time for those first several years. It was a volunteer board, very, very passionate, small group of people who dedicated a lot of time and energy to making sure that the efforts came forward. We did the Research Awards Program and the Summit are two that I want to talk about. Those were a big undertaking. We went from being a patient education, patient support organization to really trying to join that community and with the clinicians and supporting the work that they were doing out in the space of trying to find better diagnoses, trying to find treatment options, and hopefully someday maybe find a cure. So we did launch our Research Awards program. That was funded by a bequest that we were given, which was just an amazing donation of funds that we were able to a little bit change our strategic objective, which I think is important when you start looking at what our current objectives are, that happened based on a very passionate person who wanted to make sure that we played a role and a place, the patient's voice played a place in research. The next one that I want to talk about is the summit. So we're here celebrating, or because of the World Congress for Cutaneous Lymphoma. So all the people who are in that scientific world that are associated and focused on cutaneous lymphomas in the clinical community are gathered together trying to share their knowledge and expertise. It's an amazing group of folks. And in 2009, the foundation held a first summit. It was a passion project of some board members, some scientists and researchers, and our founder who had decided that it was more important because, as you saw in that cross-discipline, the dermatologists, hem-oncologists, came together to work together, because so many people only were part of one side of the fence. They were being seen by a dermatologist, and the dermatologist did not necessarily see or know what the hematologist oncologist was doing, and vice versa. So we held the first ever summit, which was a medical conference, a CME program that brought those two groups of people together for the very first time in cutaneous lymphoma space. And then the clinicians, as appropriate, have taken it over since then. There's no reason that we needed to hold on to it. It was just great that we were able to make the observation of the importance in your care in having those two groups of people working together on your behalf. So we held our very first two-day patient conference, just like this one, in 2014. It was a vision of our current CEO, Susan Thornton, to have a more in-depth opportunity for you guys to really engage and connect with one another. We're so glad that she did, because these have ended up being so valuable from what we hear back from feedback. These have been extremely valuable in people being able to connect with people from around the area as well as around the globe, and learn from each other's experiences. And that's really important, because you're all going through maybe not the same journey, but similar journeys, and there are probably overlapping things that sharing with another person can really be helpful. And so being able to bring everybody together in this way allows people to be able to do that a little bit more. Our online patient community, along with our online networking groups. So we have a very passionate board member who started our networking groups in person pre-COVID, and very successful in Washington, D.C. We had in-person networking groups while COVID hit. So what are you going to do? We flip everything to online. So we now have 2 online networking groups where patients come together to just connect twice a month now, online through Zoom, through your little box, right? Everybody gets to be in a little box, and chat with one another and hear about each other's experiences. And it is incredible that the diversity in diagnosis, the diversity in experience, although not all the same people come every time, and maybe not every diagnose, again, it's about those shared experiences that really bring a lot of comfort to one another. And so that then launched into our online community, which is an online platform. We pulled it into a private platform, not having it so much out on the social media, just in case we wanted it to be protected, a protected environment for patients to be able to connect with one another in an electronic way. So if you're not a member and you want to be a member, and you're a patient or you're a care partner, please join the networking groups online or the community, or both, because people not only feel better about where they are in their journey and being able to talk to another patient, it's also great to have people who maybe are a little more well-maintained be there for the next person who comes and has questions. It's kind of that give and give back. And we do find that the people that come that are, have been around for a longer period of time get just as much out of it as the people who maybe are attending for the first time. So last year, 2022, where did time go? In 2022, we started our Cutaneous Lymphoma International Nurses Network, and we started working on the International Coalition for Cutaneous Lymphoma, along with other patient organizations from around the globe. So our ability to be able to try to work with other patient organizations to meet the needs of people globally and bring nurses together, the same way that the summit brought the dermatologists and the hem-oncologist physicians together. The Nurses Network is designed to do the same thing, bring nurses from multiple disciplines so that they can better care for their patients. They can learn from one another, because maybe if you're on the oncology side, you may not necessarily understand the impact of skin disease and what quality of life issues that your patient that you're caring for will be dealing with, and vice versa, right? If you're a dermatology, you may not necessarily understand some of the treatments and the things that you're going through with an oncologist. And so to have those nurses who are really part of your daily journeys connected was really important. So we're developing an entire curriculum with we are not, the nurses are, I apologize, I don't want to take credit for their work. We have some brilliant nurses who are part of that steering committee who are developing curriculum, webinars, information, and they're really engaging one another. And it's hopefully sticks with our mission, and that it improves the quality of life for the people sitting in this room and online. So here we are again, in case anybody hadn't heard, celebrating 25 years together. So our vision and our mission are a life free from the burdens of cutaneous lymphoma. And how are we going to accomplish that? We're empowering people through education and support. And that's these events. This is bringing the individuals together, connecting people with each other, and really helping you learn about the information from experts. There'll be expert people that are so much smarter than me who will be here to talk to you about cutaneous lymphoma and all the clinical and scientific things that are happening in the background, along with treatment options. And therefore, we also have our industry partners who can share information on treatments and things that are happening there. I mean, it's a great opportunity for you to get accurate information, not Google. Please don't Google. Use good information, right? That's why we do it. That's why we develop it. And all of the information that we put out is clinically vetted. We do not provide any information put out that hasn't been reviewed by a specialist in cutaneous lymphoma. So it's really important to us that for that first part of education and support, the online networking group, the online community, let's support one another. Let's have networking here. Let's connect you, and let's give you the most up-to-date, accurate information. That is really important part, and that is the roots of the foundation. That is why the founder started the Cutaneous Lymphoma Foundation, was that piece. Advocacy and awareness, we're here to be your champion. We are here to be the champion for every person who is affected by cutaneous lymphomas. And that means all kinds of things. That's raising awareness about cutaneous lymphoma. That's helping general dermatologists and oncologists recognize it, see it, understand it. That's raising the voices. It's being the voice of your community, of this entire community, and trying to shout from the rooftops. We need people to see it. We need people to know it, and you need to understand how this impacts the people that are living with it. And so we are we try to be, we want to be, we are your champion. And then uniting through research. Research can be a whole lot of things. It can be funding direct scientific research, which we do, and we are proud to do, and it's an amazing thing, and they need us, right? We support researchers, we support research. That's extremely important, and why it was on that history of things. It was something that we developed the Research Awards program. There needs to be funding put in this direction. We support young investigators. The reason we choose to support young investigators is because if we bring the younger generation up and keep them interested and engaged in cutaneous lymphoma, we are going to raise awareness and have more of them out there. And it's amazing what we can do with just bits of money, because we're developing a case for more funding from larger places that have more resources to be able to do it. If there is validation of the credentials and the work that's being done, even at the smallest level, they can go to governments and apply for larger grants, because there's evidence that shows that they're actually doing the work that needs to be done. They can't just go and get those really big grants. They need to have some kind of built validation, and so that's what we do. Being a small organization, you know, we try to partner with other organizations, and then we try to bring some seed money in. The other area of that research section, and I know everybody loves a survey, I'm just saying, right? But we put out surveys, and we do surveys with alliance partners who are working to gather data. You would be amazed, your stories, your quality of life, what you're living with, your experiences, your treatments, all of those things matter in research. You are the people living with it. So when we put out surveys, if you are participating in those surveys, you are participating in research. That information is going back to, again, much smarter people than me, who are analyzing that data and putting it to good use. So, you know, it comes in a lot of different shapes, sizes, and forms, but it's important for people to understand that the surveys that we put out and we ask and we push through our email or through our social media, your shared experiences are what help advance the world in the science. Your shared experience, knowledge, and information is what helps the scientific community better understand the directions that they need to go. So we wouldn't ask if it wasn't going someplace that was important and hopefully going to advance the scientific arena. So I am definitely not going through everything here. And these things can all be found on the amazing boards that are out and around. These are the lists of things that the foundation focuses on, works on, does on an annual basis. These are our programs and services. These are the things we engage in. So if you have just met us and you just happen to find this and you're here and this is all you know about us, there's a whole lot more. And if you've been around the block and you've utilized some of these things, that's amazing. And you know, we love your feedback. We love hearing if these programs and services are working for you, if this is meeting the needs that you have. It's really important for us. Again, with another survey, sorry. You are going to, we do ask a lot, and we ask because we care, because we do good reevaluations into these programs and services every year. So we provide them, we do them, we analyze them, we review them, and then we start over. We replan. And we replan based on the feedback we get. Is the community getting the information that they need? And so these are the things that we're currently doing. This might change a little bit from year to year, but they've been pretty tried and true. And we are finding that these are working for most people. But certainly, if they're not, let us know. Let us know where our gaps are. So I've talked about this as well, because I keep jumping around and I apologize, but alliances. And the reason why we work with alliances, and we talked about it, we're rare and we're small and we're a small community. Cutaneous lymphoma in and of itself is a small community. But when we match our voices with other lymphoma groups, let's just say, we match our voices and we bring them together in that arena, now we have a much larger voice to speak out. We do the same thing on the skin side. We connect with the Coalition of Skin Diseases. We connect with the Lymphoma Coalition. These organizations are working with all skin disease areas and all lymphomas. We fall into both categories, so we partner with both. We partner with all of these other organizations to get the cutaneous lymphoma word out. We just want people to know what cutaneous lymphoma is. When we go to the Hill, when we go to advocacy, we go with these larger organizations. We kind of piggyback. We're like, all right, here we are. And we are cutaneous lymphoma, and we spread our information out, and we tell everybody who will listen about cutaneous lymphoma. And we can do that because our voices can get much larger by alliances and collaboration. And so if you see us talking about we're here with NORD, or we're here with Lymphoma Coalition, or here, that's why. It's because we're trying to take cutaneous lymphoma globally, utilizing the breadth and the strength and the reach that these other organizations have. So join in, share that information, make sure that people know, and you're too raising the voice about cutaneous lymphoma. I just talked a little bit about it. The surveys, these are two that the Lymphoma Coalition Global Patient Survey, I believe, closes soon. If you haven't heard about the Global Patient Survey, we have been pushing that on our social media. That's closing soon. It's really important that the cutaneous lymphoma community respond to this information, respond with their experiences and what's happening in your world, providing the feedback, because what we get from that is we'll get data and we'll get information and we'll get bits of things that we can then take to researchers. It'll get published. It'll go out in our awareness campaigns. It will help in advancing the care, treatment, diagnosis, and all of those things through your voices. So the global skin research, the grid has closed. That was a program that we just wrapped up, but it will be, I believe there is a phase 2 of that project, so stay tuned. But like I said, the Lymphoma Coalition's Global Patient Survey, I believe, is closing soon. So if you have not participated in it and you are willing to participate in it, we would be greatly appreciated, because that data helps us extract cutaneous lymphoma specific data and be able to use that in a bigger, broader way in research. So this, in another format, is out there. People frequently ask, how do I get involved? This is the foundation, the board, the staff, it's our foundation. It's really your foundation. So we recognize many of you have time, talents, treasures, things that you want to share. So we've come up with, all kinds of ways that, you might be able to give back. And some of those things might be your time, they might be your expertise, they might be, they might be financial. And all of those things are needed in order to keep the foundation going. And so I would be happy to talk to anybody who is interested in talking about getting involved in the foundation and ways to engage yourself and ways to give back of one or many of those things, about how we make that happen. So please feel free to reach out to me. Again, there's an entire poster board out there regarding getting involved, and that we can't do it alone. And I hope that if you're interested and it's the right time, and that's another thing that we do understand, it's not always the right time for everybody, but when it is, our door is open. This is your foundation. Upcoming programs, this is kind of just there's not a whole lot of specific dates on here, but as I mentioned, our networking groups are monthly, the first Tuesday and second Thursday of every month. Those are online groups taken from the in-person groups once we flipped and realized that we can now reach people globally, all through online, just like the community that's visiting us today. We have a large group of people from around the world who is streaming into this meeting. They're able to get together on twice a month from around the world as well. The answers from the experts, the next one is in May, but that's a great program. We actually have clinicians who are willing to get online onto a Zoom. You can log in, give them a question, and they're going to answer your question, with the caveat that it needs to be somewhat general. They can't give you any diagnosis information. They can't give you anything specific about your disease because they've not seen you, and that wouldn't be fair. But they can give you general answers to general questions. So if you have them, it's a great resource. It's a great opportunity to log in and get a question answered, knowing that, if it's very specific to your disease, they're going to tell you that you need to see your own specialist, and they may refer you back there. But they have a wealth of knowledge to share, and the fact that they're willing to is pretty amazing. We have an incredible group of clinicians in our space. Patient education forums. So they're a one-day version of this conference. So they're a great opportunity. We kind of float around with those. This year we're going to try something just a little different with our patient education forums. Typically we have a very rigid format, kind of an overview, one-on-one, and treatment options and that sort of thing, and it's very basic. We have decided that we have a lot of that information already captured, and so a way that we can do this and continue to do these programs, we need to change things up a little bit. So the idea is that our summer program is going to be focused in research. So we are not 100% sure where that one is going to be. We believe it's going to be on the East Coast and possibly Northeast Coast. And we are going to gather some people who are researchers and up to date as best as possible. We do have a research session that's happening today as well, this afternoon, I believe, which will be amazing. But that program will be an entire day's focused on research and what's happening and what the field is working on. And that's going to be this summer. And then in November, we're thinking about Florida for a bilingual program, Spanish and English. That will also be live streamed. The idea is that we want to try to bring together as many people as possible and allow people to be in their own space and where they are and communicating how they want to. So that will run concurrently. We've done it once in Canada with French and English, and it worked beautifully. And so we thought it's time that we do one here and we do Spanish and English. So hopefully that will be well attended and found to be an asset to folks as well. And then in September, along with World Lymphoma Awareness Day, in case anybody doesn't know that September has World Lymphoma Awareness Day, and we're a big pusher of that. We think it's extremely important that we raise the voice, and that's a excuse me, a good time for us to raise awareness about cutaneous lymphomas. We also hold our international virtual program, which is, it's all online, and we bring people, that is multi-session conference held virtually, globally, and it's in multiple time zones, from global time zones, and we bring in our speakers globally, and again, it's strictly an online program. How am I doing on time, Autumn? Okay. If you are not connected with us, if you have not had an opportunity to sign up, I have our Stay Connected will take you to our website page that has links out to signing up for all of these things. Our online community, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn, and then the foundation's website. I highly recommend getting connected and staying connected. It's how you will hear about things that are coming up. It's how you'll hear about what's happening in cutaneous lymphoma straight from the foundation's information. We're good? Make sure nobody's, all right. If you missed the slide, let me know. So thank you. Again, we talked about the survey. You're going to get lots of opportunities to scan this QR code, but this QR code is going to take you to the survey for the 2-day patient conference. Your feedback is extremely important to us. It is how we determine whether or not we need to change things, whether or not things are working, because it doesn't matter if they work for us. They have to work for you. And so please provide your feedback. Be honest. It's important. We don't want to host these events because we want to have them done for us and we want to stand here and do this. We want them to be functional and working for every person who's in this room. So please take your time to make sure that you fill out your survey. It doesn't have to be now, at the end of the event, but just please do make sure that you do that. It's extremely important to thank our industry partners. These events are made possible by both our individual donors and our industry partners. So thank you to all of you who have allowed us the ability to be able to do the things that we do and make sure that we are serving the patient population. We can't do it without you. I also have to thank, and I know that we have already kind of run down it, but our board of directors, all of our clinical volunteers, who you will see many of them here, our donors, our industry partners, our medical advisory council, who works tirelessly to make sure that we keep all of our information accurate and vetted, research advisory council, making sure that we stay very focused on the needs of the medical community. It's extremely important that they stay connected with us because they let us know where we can make a difference, right? So that we're not just a small nonprofit dumping funds someplace where it actually isn't going to make impact in your life. They know what's cutting edge and where the science needs to be, and our Research Advisory Council helps us really hone in on where we can make the biggest impact with the money that you have given to us to put into research. And then the staff, the volunteers, and most importantly, the people who are in this room, the patients and care partners, thank you. Thank you to all of you.